Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Inu-Yasha, a feudal fairy tale by Rumiko Takahashi, Viz graphic novel. And this is kind of continuing the manga nostalgia series here. In this case, this one has a lot of personal history for me. I have a very good friend who this manga had a pretty big effect on him in high school, and I was a big fan of this manga too in high school as well, and the anime. Uh, yeah, this is really fascinating because this is one of several manga that I have that are actually printed left to right. And for those of you who don't know, back in the old days, they actually used to repanelize manga that came from Japan and redesign them for left to right reading. And in the old days, Viz Graphic used to do this. Very time consuming and a pain in the butt, but very nice for those of us in English speaking countries or in any country that read left to right to pick this up. You can't get these anymore, if I remember. These nowadays, if you go to Viz and you pick up Inu-Yasha or whatever, whoever's printing Inu-Yasha now, it'll be in the Japanese format, right to left. This is effectively a yeah, I hate saying that word, but I do say it too much. It's a fairy tale. In this case, it's a fairy tale based in feudal Japan. Uh, but you get a nice little exposition start. They introduce Inu-Yasha, the title character, and his quest for this particular MacGuffin of the series, which is the Jewel of Four Souls, or the Shikon jewel. And then you get introduced to Kikyo, one of the other major characters of the story, as she stops Inuyasha from getting it at the cost of her life, and then she cremates herself with this jewel to destroy it and save the world from its evil power. The Shikon jar or shard kind of acts like the One Ring to a degree, in the sense that everybody wants it. It's very desirable, has a lot of power, and grants you a lot of power. Though the specifics of it in the book are somewhat nefarious, other than monster eats this jewel and it gets super freaking strong. And yeah, so we go to, well, modern times, and by modern I mean 20 more than 20 years ago, 1997. Yeah, this is a pretty old manga. And we go to the other main character of the story, which is Kagome, and she's just a regular girl in 90s Japan, growing up, and she lives in a shrine that kind of houses a lot of an ancient tree and an ancient well, and she has a regular family, all this other stuff. A lot of normal life stuff, right? She goes in with her brother to chase after her cat, and she's over at the well, and the well's kind of creepy, and she kind of calls out. This is kind of interesting. Like in this dialogue, she's like, "What, are you scared? You're a boy, aren't you?" And I know that's kind of like, oh, that's pretty innocent and fun and jabbing her brother, but like people, I feel like would get triggered nowadays if you use this kind of dialogue, because it's kind of like insinuating that boys are better than girls. Freaking annoying people. But you like back then it wasn't a big deal. So anyhow, she goes down there to go get the cat, and then this monster breaks out of the well and drags her into feudal Japan. So she goes back in time, and she comes out of this well and meets the title character, Inuyasha, who's been enchanted from the arrow that Kikyo hit him with to that tree. Anyhow, you get a fish out of water story where she's in this village trying to understand that now she's like way back in time, and all this sort of like, what's going on? There's no hot baths, etc., etc. The demon comes back to chase after her. You get a fun little story where she goes into the forest, and now Inuyasha, having come in contact with her, has been awakened. So there's kind of an underlying theme that Kagome has a lot of the same powers or capabilities as Kikyo, because she's in a way a reincarnation of that character, or at least that's the sort of theory going on as you go through the manga. and so he gets reawakened because this spell kind of is begins to break from her influence. So she frees Inu-Yasha after in order to stop this monster from killing all of them, and in the process, he comes out and he's just a monster, just super powerful. Destroys this demon in one shot. And then you get a nice little twist where, he wants that jewel, so he's willing to kill the girl for it. And so, really fun thing about Rumiko Takahashi is she's really famous for Ranma One Half, which is somewhat of it's a martial arts, but really a slice of life manga. Very, very heavy on comedy, like extremely heavy on comedy. And believe I read an interview with her one time where she was saying like she could never keep any story serious for long. She'll always have a problem where she kind of has to stop and then make some jokes or doing something like that. And Inuyasha does kind of I guess it's kind of like a Marvel movie in some way. Inuyasha does kind of suffer from this, in that Inuyasha is rarely super serious for long, just because that's just not her forte or her favorite genre. So anyhow, he's threatened to kill her, and then they get a funny little trick where she gets a necklace, and you get sort of the laugh line of the plot for ladies, where all she has to do is say sit, and he gets smacked into the ground. Anyway, so they get to know each other now that she has like this weird power over her. He's a half demon, and it's kind of implied that he has a relationship with Kikyo before. As you read further into manga, you find out a lot more about that. And they end up getting into this one little mess with these soldiers. Turns out that this soldier has a demon in him, and the demon ends up getting the Shikon, or the Jewel of Four Souls. As they chase after them, and they have little fun jokes about her what she has in similarity with Kikyo and what she does not. This is actually kind of a big point in the whole story further on, is her and Kikyo and sort of the interaction and their likeliness, right? She ends up, in order to stop that crow demon from absorbing the jewel, she ends up shooting it with an arrow, but the arrow destroys the jewel and sends shards all over Japan. And because of that, they kind of end up in yeah, there's a lot of also kind of nudity in this series too. It ends up setting up the major sort of adventure, which is them going after these shards and running into more people throughout that adventure in their quest to make this jewel whole again, and potentially resolve the problems that this jewel is creating in this era of Japan. Anyway, the rest of it continues on with a bunch of adventures and a bunch of laughs. It's not a particularly deep plot, though. There's a lot of other subplots and twists later on in the series that makes it more interesting, and it is sort of the hallmark of manga of this time, of both referencing a lot of ancient Japan, Shinto sort of themes of demons and gods and whatnot, and then also bringing in a lot of that high school drama or characterization that manga of this time was kind of known for. So what do I think of it now? I read this many years ago. When was this printed? This was printed. Come on, you're somewhere here. I can barely read you. Oh, this is first printing 1998. I think this is the fifth printing 2001. September 2001. Whoa, wow. Yeah, stuff happened that month, by the way. What do I think of it now? I still like it. It's still a great series to me. Would I recommend it? Definitely. I wasn't as big a fan of the anime, mainly because it did end up having a lot of Naruto had the same problem. Ended up having a lot of filler episodes just because as often happens in anime, the anime outpaces the manga, and the anime creators have to kind of create episodes to make up time before the manga creator can catch up to them. Uh, but yeah, no, I still like it, still recommend it, and I don't know if you can find these. I think you're gonna find the yellow and red books now that are in the proper right to left format. Though it is really cool picking up a manga that goes left right, just for I guess the old school nostalgia feeling of knowing that the translators actually did their damn job. Anyhow, that's it for the video. If you like this, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And if you have any comments on Inu-Yasha, the manga or the anime, or this just old version of Inu-Yasha, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And I will see you next time.